Good afternoon, and welcome to this afternoon's talk show. I'm Andrew Lawrence. Today, we'll be discussing the impact that volunteers play on our economy, our society, and our household lives. The effect of volunteers can be felt throughout the Pioneer Valley and the rest of the country. Even during our current trying economic times, while the global economy teeters on the brink of complete recession, our nation's leader is urging us to get out and volunteer in our communities.
Build a new foundation for economic growth in America. We can rebuild our schools, but we need people to be mentors and tutors in those schools. We can modernize our healthcare system, but we need volunteers in our hospitals and communities to help care for the sick and help people lead healthier lives. Economic recovery is as much about what you're doing in your communities as what we're doing here in Washington. I'm calling on all of you to make volunteerism and community service part of your daily life and the life of this nation.
Many of us may ask, why the emphasis on volunteering? Sure, most of us have been raised to help your fellow man, give back to our communities, and donate our time, money, and resources to charity. Yet, in a time where so many people are unable to help their own case, why are we being asked to donate our time to volunteer causes? Recent studies have shown that volunteer efforts are boosting our economy and helping to rebuild industries, support operating fees for community groups, and foster local development. Research undertaken at Case Western Reserve University showed that, in the United States alone, some 83.9 million Americans volunteered their time last year, averaging about 4 hours per week. At the average U.S. wage level of just over $17 an hour, that volunteer work can be valued at $239 billion. Compare that number to the amount that Americans have spent on new single-family homes in the same one-year period, which was $202 billion. Through these statistics, it is clear that the work of volunteers has a distinct economic value to our nation's well-being. Yet these transactions are not calculated in standard measurements of our GDP. As Professor Sam Baker of the University of South Carolina describes, this work falls outside of the U.S.'s market system, which is the primary measure of our nation's economic standing.
The U.S. economy is basically a market system. Resources and finished goods and services are privately owned. They're bought and sold. And no economy, not even the U.S., is a pure market economy. For one thing, inside households, people do things for each other. They provide services and give things to each other, goods, without demanding payment in money. And there's a lot of volunteer work that goes on, other things that aren't really part of the market system. Our measures of the economy, the gross domestic product, is not going to attempt to assign a value to these kind of non-money transactions.
Understanding the separation between volunteer work and our measurable economy helps us to understand the value that volunteers play within our society. Financially, we've shown that volunteers help to fulfill a gap in the workforce maintained by many community-based organizations. But we are still left wondering, how does volunteer work help the individual? Project, a community service learning program which seeks to immerse volunteers in their work in order to raise awareness and nurture a dedication to a particular issue. I asked Marissa to describe how she feels her work stimulates herself and the community. Tell me briefly about your volunteer experience.
I've been working with people with special needs since I was 13 years old.
How does your work with Boltwood help to benefit yourself as well as the local community and economy?
Boltwood gives me a chance to volunteer with people with special needs over the academic year. It's humbling, it makes you reflect, and when we come in, it's just there 2 hours to relax and unwind and have fun. And that little bit of the outside world coming in really benefits them.
She explained that the benefits are twofold, meaning that she not only was able to have an emotionally and psychologically rewarding experience, but that she and the other volunteers get real-world know-how while seeing the benefit that their work brings to her community members. The rewards of volunteer work allow us to create a stronger foundation for our nation's future. By providing fast-paced workplace experience, professionals learn intangible skills which they carry on to their own careers. Despite being neglected by most financial measures of our economy, it is clear that volunteer work brings vitality and connectivity to our local communities and economies. By providing essential goods and services at little or no monetary cost, volunteer work affords many people a stepping stone to further financial activity and interaction with the market system. Thanks for joining me today.
Oh, he's called a man. Tell me, how many seas must a wife